Grumpy old men debating continually interrupt one another. The first presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden was marred by continual transgressions against one another, constantly interrupting. It was done by both Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden, in fact, told Donald Trump to shut up on a couple of occasions. One time he literally said, shut up.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, will this guy just shush? Was another thing that he stated. It actually turned off my wife. When you see the two in contrast to one another, you have Donald Trump being much more accusatory, Joe Biden kind of mumbling and fumbling through his statements. And I thought that overall the debate was a poor one. It really didn't accent a lot of new views. It did not give me hope in terms of what we can expect going forward as a country. And that goes for both candidates. Of the two, I thought that Donald Trump was far more lucid than Joe Biden. Joe Biden was constantly ducking his head and closing his eyes as if concentrating, as if being unable to process too many things at any given time. At times, it even appeared to me that he was falling asleep. He mumbled, he stuttered, he did a poor job explaining himself. At one point, he said that the new Green Deal will pay for itself.
The Green New Deal will pay for itself as we move forward. We're not going to build plants that, in fact, are great polluting plants.
And of course, he immediately covered it up. No, I'm not in favor of the new Green Deal. No, Joe Biden is not all there. And anybody that watched this debate had to see it. Donald Trump, far more lucid, far more intelligent, despite the fact that Joe Biden opened himself up a couple of times and Donald Trump didn't go for the gut punch. Donald Trump, for example, declared that the KKK was a terrorist organization as well as Antifa.
And despite this political development of last week, Chris Wallace still asked Donald Trump to condemn the white supremacist groups, which he obviously already had.
Donald Trump could have easily just stated, I declared the KKK to be a terrorist organization along with Antifa. What more could you ask of me? I don't want violence of any type. Of course, the left is encouraging violence. They think that it plays to their base. They don't want to declare Antifa to be a terrorist organization or even acknowledge their existence. Once again, Joe Biden in this debate declared Antifa to be some sort of myth or some sort of loose organization that's conjured up in the minds of Republicans, despite the persistent violence and destruction of property that our major cities in the United States are undergoing, including Portland, Seattle, Louisville.
Tell you what, somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacists. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got to be kidding.
Joe Biden, nevertheless, went out of his way not to mention the word Antifa in any negative light. And Donald Trump is right, because maybe that will lose in support of the radical left. But the truth is the radical left is voting for Joe Biden no matter what. Okay, there might be a couple of them that drop off, but Joe Biden needs to gain a hold of the middle if he wants to secure this election. And by not doing so, he's going to give the Republicans fodder to go after him, because once again, he did not declare. Once again, the Democratic strategy is not to acknowledge the existence of Antifa, not to acknowledge the existence of the massive destruction done by the riots by BLM and Antifa as they chant Black Lives Matter and then destroy the local businesses that provide the jobs for the black people. Look, there were numerous opportunities missed here, but the takeaway from this debate is the fact that Joe Biden is not fit to be president. He was mumbling, he was stuttering. I do not trust him going forward with his mental decline, which to me is very obvious, to be in charge. And then Kamala Harris will be put into office. Joe Biden says that he is the order of the Democratic Party, that he has the say over the Democratic legislation. Well then, why don't you call up Ted Wheeler of Portland? If you are the head of the Democratic Party, the legislation and what we want to enact, then you have the ability to influence these people. And Ted Wheeler has let, as Chris Wallace pointed out, Portland riot for 100 nights straight. This is not very much acknowledged on the left-hand side of the aisle. This is what they not necessarily desire for America going forward, but they are allowing to take place because they think that it will hurt their political opponent. I don't know anything more evil that you want to get into office by allowing the destruction of people's businesses, of people's livelihoods, of their jobs that they will no longer be able to go back to because the business, Walmart, whatever it was looted and burnt to the ground. Yet, Joe Biden does not want to disavow Antifa, does not want to say, yes, I'm going to call up Ted Wheeler in Portland and get him to do this. Because if it is the case that you are head of the Democratic Party, then you have the ability to do this. You have the ability to influence these idiotic mayors and their governors of their states. And yes, I do believe that the governors of the states have locked their state downs until after the election, as Trump rightly pointed out, because they want to minimize the economic impact on the upside, not because they're so scared of COVID. And yes, there should have been made a much bigger deal, the fact that Joe Biden has stated in the past that he wants to lock the country down for 3 months if he's elected. This will cause untold economic damage. This will put people back into their homes with children that they are unable to send to school. There are very few people that have the economic stability and capability and mental acuity to deal with such situations. It is really difficult for just about anybody. So for Joe Biden to say, I want to lock down the economy, I want to lock down the United States over a disease that is already endemic within our borders, is complete malfeasance and political malpractice on his part. And it shows what would happen under Democratic leadership in terms of the economy. And that's one of the reasons that y'all should support Donald J. Trump. Look, grumpy old men definitely interrupting one another on a continual basis throughout this debate. And it wasn't a pretty to watch, but what I took away from this, Joe Biden, he ain't fit to lead our government. And it really is Kamala Harris who they want to put into power via the Trojan horse of Joe Biden. Peace and blessings to everybody out there. If you like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video with a friend. And if you have thoughts, if you have comments on the debate, please leave them in the box below. Peace and blessings to everybody out there.